The power has been dead for 11 hours. The hum of your fridge died first. Then the traffic. Then your neighbor's Wi-Fi name vanished from your phone like it never existed. The weather app says, loading. The thermostat says nothing. Your breath is a foggy speech bubble in your own living room. Somewhere outside, a generator coughs like a smoker and then goes silent. The forecast you care about now isn't on a screen. It's in your fingers turning numb. You have maybe 12 hours before "I'm cold" becomes "I can't think straight," and another 12 before your body starts quietly failing basic functions. No worries, we're going to fix this. With physics, trash, and a few choices your future self will be too cold to complain about. Most people think staying warm means turn up the heat and put on a hoodie. That's adorable. The grid is gone, your furnace is a dead metal sculpture, the gas line is a rumor, and your favorite cotton hoodie is a soft, absorbent heat thief. The myth is simple. If you just layer up and tough it out in your house, you'll be fine. The reality is brutal. Your entire house is a walk-in fridge with family photos. You're sitting in a giant box of air that wants to be the same temperature as outside, and every wall, window, and door is a slow leak. You're trying to heat that entire volume with one human body and maybe a candle. So you stop heating the house. You start heating the space around your body, and you trap that heat like it owes you money. You grab cardboard boxes, trash bags, duct tape, old blankets, couch cushions, that ugly curtain you never liked. You pick one small room and you hijack a corner of it. You line the lower walls with flattened cardboard to slow the heat bleeding into the structure. You slap plastic bags or any plastic sheeting over the windows to trap air, because still air is free insulation. You don't sleep low because warm air rises and cold air puddles on the floor like regret. You're not decorating, you're building a thermal trap where your body's weak little heat output actually matters. Your body is a pathetic space heater, but if you keep that heat from escaping into the void, you suddenly look a lot smarter than the people trying to live normally in their ice palace. Then there's the fire fantasy. In every collapse story, someone says, "We'll just light a fire. It'll be cozy." Sure, if by cozy you mean high visibility target with bonus carbon monoxide. The myth goes, a big fire means big safety. The real version is, a big fire means big risk, big smoke, big oxygen use, and a neon sign to every cold, desperate person within sniffing distance. Open flames in an unprepared room can kill you 4 ways before breakfast. They can burn your shelter down when you're tired and sloppy, poison you with CO if you don't vent right, chew through your fuel reserve like a bored teenager, and broadcast your location with light and smell. So you forget the caveman bonfire fantasy and start thinking in micro heat. You use the smallest, safe, controlled heat you can manage. Tea lights, an alcohol stove, a small stove if you already had one installed, something you actually know how to vent. You surround that heat source with thermal mass, bricks, rocks, pots of water, so they soak up those calories and bleed them back out slowly, turning your chaos flame into a heat battery. You warm your hands near the warmed objects, not dangling your fingers above a flickering flame like a cartoon. If you've got nothing but candles and junk, you put a stable ceramic or metal pot above a few candles with airflow around the base and ring it with stones or bricks. No, it won't turn your house into a sauna, but inside your shrunken, warm pod, it takes the edge off. Fire dumps energy into the room fast, but most of it escapes if you don't give it something to charge. Thermal mass turns that spike into a slow, survivable bleed. Small flames use less oxygen, make less smoke, and attract fewer eyes. You use fire to charge objects. You use objects to heat you. That's apocalypse math. Next comes the clothing lie. People here layer up and go to war with their closet. 3 cotton hoodies, 2 pairs of jeans, socks that died in 2014, and then they sit there shivering, wondering why the inspirational quote didn't work. The myth says more layers automatically mean more warmth. The reality says wrong materials and wrong order turn your outfit into a cold sponge. You sweat, then you sit still, and the moisture stuck in those cotton layers robs your heat faster than the outside air. So you rewire how you think about clothes. The first layer is anything that stays closer to dry. Synthetic or wool wins. If all you have is cotton, Keep it thin here and don't drown in it. The middle layer is your air trap, bulky stuff that holds still air, sweaters, hoodies, towels, even bubble wrap under a shirt if you're sufficiently done with dignity. The outer layer is your wind and draft blocker, even indoors, raincoat, windbreaker, or a trash bag poncho with holes for head and arms. Your feet and hands are where your morale goes to die, so you cheat. Plastic bags over socks inside shoes create a crude vapor barrier that keeps heat from escaping into the floor. No, it's not great for running around, but you're not training for a marathon. You're trying not to freeze in place. No gloves? Put socks on your hands. Warm beats cool, and alive beats stylish. Heat leaves by conduction, convection, radiation, and evaporation. You trap air, you block moving air, you stop sweat from becoming liquid betrayal. You're not dressing to impress. You're dressing to be a well-insulated meat radiator. The next mistake is psychological. People want to live normally in their home. They drift from room to room, cooking in the kitchen, sitting in the living room, pacing the hallway, pretending the world hasn't changed. The myth says, I need space to move around and feel normal. The reality says, every extra room is another cold surface stealing your heat. Your house doesn't care if you're going stir-crazy. It cares about equalizing with the outdoors. So you crush your footprint. You pick the smallest room you can stand, closet, small bedroom, even a pantry that isn't a direct doorway to the Arctic, and you move your life into it. You block the bottom of doors with clothes, towels, bags of junk. You hang blankets over interior doors like sad fabric force fields. Your living room now is where your sleeping setup, food, water, and light all live, tightly packed. It feels cramped because cramped is warm. You are not the lord of a manor, you are the occupant of a lifeboat. The less volume you defend against the cold, the more effect your limited heat has. Heating an entire house with a human body is like trying to warm a swimming pool with a kettle. Shrink the pool. Become the annoying person who only uses one corner. That's how you survive. Food is where people get clever and still lose. They decide warm food equals warm body, so they spend half their fuel boiling watery soup with almost no calories in it. The myth says any hot meal is good. The reality is that hot, low-calorie food is emotional support, not survival strategy. You are a furnace running on calories. In the cold, your burn rate goes up. If you're grazing like it's diet week, you're just turning yourself into a shivering statue. So you prioritize calorie-dense food. Peanut butter, oils, nuts, pasta, rice, oats, canned meats. You respect the stuff that gives you long burn energy, not just flavor. Hot drinks are nice, but if you're lighting your stove every hour to reheat water, you're feeding your anxiety more than your body. You boil once, fill a thermos or seal bottles, and keep them inside your warm pod so the heat bleeds out slowly where you are. You turn hot water into both hydration and heating gear, slipping a hot bottle into your clothes or sleeping setup. You understand that your body is the main heater. Fuel is limited, and everything you do either feeds or starves that chain. Cold stress raises your calorie burn. Intake below burn equals weaker, slower, dumber, and finally, colder. Hot food gives a small bump, but it's the fat and calories that matter. A high-fat snack before sleep is not cheating. It's a bribe to your metabolism to keep the furnace burning while you're unconscious. The cold isn't just a physical enemy. It's a patient hypnotist. Sit still long enough in low temperatures, and your brain starts whispering, "This is fine. You can nap." That voice wants you dead. At the same time, anyone outside who thinks you're warm and unprotected is also a problem. So you run psychological warfare on two fronts, your own brain and everyone else's expectations. The myth says, if I stay quiet and still, I'm conserving energy, and I'm safe. The reality says, sit still too long, and you lose circulation, focus, and will. Be obvious, and you invite problems. Inside your head, you set movement alarms. Every 30 to 45 minutes, you do something that looks ridiculous, but feels like life. Squats, lunges, push-ups against the wall, isometric holds where you press against something and make your muscles work. You can mark time by a wind-up clock, the length of a song you remember, or how far a candle burns down. The important thing is that motion is scheduled, not optional. Outside, you make your place look boring, cold, and mildly annoying to approach. Any light you have stays deep in your warm pod, blocked from windows by layers of fabric. From the street, your place is just another dark rectangle. You set up petty traps that are more about noise than harm. Cans on a string, crunchable junk near the entrance, anything that makes a racket if stepped on. You want an intruder's brain to hear trouble and think, try next door. You can even lean into misdirection. One frosted, obviously dead-looking window. No glow, no sound, nothing inviting. For other humans, uncertainty and effort are deterrents. For you, scheduled movement and an intentionally boring mental loop keep you from drifting into the kind of cold sleep you don't wake up from. You are not trying to look strong. You are trying to look like a poor investment. Finally, sleep is where heroes die. Heroes throw one blanket on the floor and declare they'll tough it out. Heroes don't wake up. The myth says any flat spot and the blanket will do, especially if you've been camping before. The reality is that camping in fair weather with backup is not the same as sleeping in a house that's slowly equalizing with freezing air and has no rescue on standby. So you stop thinking in terms of bed and start thinking in system. First, you get off the floor. The floor is a cold, hungry thief. You lay down cardboard, mats, folded clothes, anything to build a barrier. If you have something reflective, emergency blanket, foil, a reflective windshield cover, you add that layer to bounce your heat back toward you. Then you stack your main insulation, blankets, sleeping bags, coats, towels, anything thick and squishy. Then you add yourself, then more layers on top. If you have trash bags, a loose bag on top can help trap air and moisture where it belongs instead of letting warm air leak away. If there's more than one of you, you sleep close. Human bodies are heating units, and this isn't a romance movie, it's a group survival algorithm. The smallest or weakest person goes in the middle, protected from the cold on both sides. During sleep, you lose most of your heat through conduction to the ground and convection to moving air. Kill those two losses, and your body suddenly has a fighting chance to maintain core temperature with less suffering. Comfort is optional. Waking up isn't. All of this isn't about being cozy. It's about outthinking physics just enough to not be erased by quiet, relentless cold. Everything you did is one principle in disguise. Make every unit of heat, whether from your body, a candle, or a stove, stick around as long as possible. You shrank the space so your tiny heat mattered. You slowed heat loss with layers, air pockets, and barriers. You turned tiny flames into stored warmth by charging mass instead of the air. You fed your furnace enough calories that it could keep burning all night instead of sputtering out. You kept your brain online with movement and routine, and you made yourself a low-value target in a world where human desperation is just another weather pattern. The harsh truth of a grid-down winter is that the environment is trying to erase you quietly, hour by hour, by stealing your heat and your judgment. You don't win by becoming invincible. You win by making it expensive, for the cold, for your own bad instincts, and for anyone eyeing your shelter. You are not trying to be a legend or the toughest person in the city. You are trying to be a problem the cold can't solve quickly. You're not trying to be invincible, just harder to kill than the environment around you.
So here's your job after this video. Step 1. Look around the room you're in right now and find 3 things that become survival gear when the grid dies. Cardboard, plastic, blankets, junk. Name them out loud. Step 2. Pick one small space in your home and mentally tag it as the pod, not the living room, not the kitchen, the bunker where your body heat actually matters. Step 3. Save this video. because when the lights go out for real, your brain is going to get stupid and you are going to forget all of this. You'll need a reminder that cozy is a lie and physics does not care about your feelings. If you want more ways to turn trash, bad decisions, and actual science into survival, hit subscribe and stay here with Doom by Design, because the grid will fail, the cold will come, and when it does, most people will try to live like it's still Tuesday. You'll already be in the corner, layered up, quietly refusing to die.